Hello everyone, today I'm gonna be showing you 3 things: enemy spawners, gold systems, and trackers for gold and health. My name's Silly, you're with Like Cookies, let's begin. As always, I've loaded the file from the previous tutorial. The file itself is available on my GitHub, or you can try to make it yourself by following the previous tutorials. If you choose to do so, please let me know if you had any trouble during the process. So now the first thing we want to do to make the spawner of our enemies is to add an empty object, and it will be plain axis. It doesn't really matter the type of the empty object, but I will lift it up along the z-axis by 1.5 units, and I will move it to a certain point on the map, so it's not just above the main character. Alright, and then what we want to do is in order to spawn the enemies, we will have to move the enemy to the second layer, so press M and 2. Alright, I will just trigger the display buttons, which I always forget to do. Alright, so going to the second layer, we have the projectile and the enemy object. Let's add at first a nice hostile red color to the enemy. Alright, so now moving the enemy to the second layer, to another layer, no matter which one is it, by doing this we mess up some of the relations between the objects. So now what we want to do is change a few logic bricks that we have made in the previous tutorial. One of them is here in the projectile sensors. We want to add a collision and type here enemy, which will seek, this sensor will seek for the enemy property, and whenever the sensor is triggered, it will end the projectile object. Alright, so this here, we made this in the previous tutorial, and it works if both objects are in different layers. Alright, but now we have them in the second layer, both of them, so we have to change this. Alright, we will make some order here. Now the second thing we want to change is the collision with the player, which is also messed up now a little bit. So this here, we will leave it here, but we will add a message. This is a new logic brick for the channel. I mean, we haven't gone over, where is it, message. So we want to send message to the player object, and the subject is whatever you want. Just remember it, because we will make a message sensor to the player, where we will use the same word you enter here. So I will enter damage, and in the body you can type whatever you want, so hit, let's say. Okay, so now you can connect these two and minimize everything you don't want to be expanded. Alright, so now what we want to do is release this string here, but first we will make a message sensor to the player, and we will accept the damage message, the damage subject. Alright, and then we will connect it to the property logic brick, the property actuator, which decreases the health every time the enemy hits us. Alright, so a little bit of order here as well. and we can release these two. So these are all the changes that have to do something with the previous tutorial. So now what we want to do is go to the spawner, which we will rename the empty object. We will rename to spawner, and we will add an always sensor, and we will add a object. So edit object, and of course we will add what? The enemy object. So enemy object. Alright, so leaving the sensor this way will spawn an object just once. Alright, so now what we want to do is press the to activate the true level triggering, and define the delay we want to spawn enemies in. Alright, so the way of calculating this is well, if you know the frame rate of the game engine, which is by default 60 frames per second, you can calculate it by multiplying this to the seconds you want the delay to be equal to. Alright, so I want the delay of my game spawner to be 2 seconds, so I multiply this to 60, and it's 120 frames. So it skips 120 frames, and on the next frame it triggers everything that follows the sensor. So of course it adds an object. Alright, so with that being said, let's test everything so far. Press P to play, and you can see that we have several enemies already, so let's count. 1, 2, spawn. Alright, 1, 2, spawn. Alright, so now we can shoot them and kill them. And the message thing we did back there was for the damage here, so let's test it as well. Alright, I was taking damage from a lot of zombies there. You can, if you have watched the previous tutorial, which you definitely should do, you have noticed that in the previous tutorial I died a lot slower than here. It's just because we changed the thing with the messages, because every single enemy object sends a message to the player, and the player listens to the subject of this message always. So every time the player receives a message with this subject, its health decreases, so eventually he dies. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is the second part of this tutorial, which is the gold system. It's quite simple. The first thing I want to add is a cylinder. This is my favorite way of making coins. So I will decrease the vertices to 8. And then I will move the coin to the second layer so I can edit it comfortably. And alright, so I want it to be shorter, like this, let's say, and smaller. Alright, I will press tab to lift it up above the center of its mass, and I will rotate it around the x-axis by 90 degrees so it stays up straight. And I will go to object mode again, and the next thing I want to do is to make its animation. Let's actually first give it some color, some goldish color. All right, I like it. And now what we want to do is go to the timeline, and I think 20 frames will be just enough. So the first thing we want to do is press I and then location and rotation. Well, let me actually tell you what I want it to be for the animation of the coin. I was thinking of rotating around the Z-axis and oscillating along the Z-axis up and down. So that's why we want to lock the location and rotation. Alright, so next what we want to do is go to the middle frame and rotate. One thing you want to do, you want to know when you have rotating objects, like in full circles, in complete circles, the first and the last frames have to be the same in most ways. So now we're making the second, the middle frame, and we'll rotate it so it's RZ 180. Then I want to lift it up with, let's say, 0.5, and then I will insert location and rotation. Then going to the last, I will rotate it again along the Z-axis with 180, and I will move it down along Z-axis with minus 0.5. Alright, and then I will insert location and rotation again. If we play the animation, you can see that it's almost flawlessly. We can fix the flawlessness of coins animation by going to, where was it? Going to graph editor. So now here we have the rotation, which is here. I want to select, alright, I have this one. So I want to select this, that goes with the graph, it goes above, alright, that goes up, and I will scale down to 0 this handle, so S0, and then I'll go to the upper one here. Where is it? 360. Right, so here again, S0, enter. Alright, so let's play the animation again. Alright, the rotation is flawless. Okay. Now what we want to do is we will go to the logic bricks of the enemy, and when the enemy dies, so here we will edit an object and we will add a coin. So what is this? This is cylinder, we will rename it to coin. Alright, so we have coin here. Alright, so let's try this. Let's try this. Right, so 0, then P to play, and we will shoot an enemy. Alright, we have a coin. Oh, it doesn't rotate because we never set it. Alright, going back to the coin. We have always. And then we have action. We have cylinder action, which was the coin. And I think we had to use loop end. I'm not sure, but here we have to enter the last frame, which is 20. All right, let's see if it works. One more thing for the coin. We'll go to the properties and we will go to the physics. I want it to be, I will leave this here to static, but I want it to be a ghost because I don't want it to have collision, like physical collision with any of the objects. All right, so let's play again. Let's see. All right, something's wrong. Well, here we don't have anything here, so all right, let's remove the ghost thing here. All right, so it's not because of the ghost. Oh, I see what happened there. So now we have to select the coin and we have to go to the dope sheet and then we want to remove X and Y locations. So all right, so X, delete, and then all right, delete. Okay, so the rotations, don't have rotation here, we don't have rotation here. All right, let's try that again. So press P to play. And we have the coin there. We will take the thing with the ghost now. As we saw, this was not the problem. And we will see if... Alright, let's see. Okay, it doesn't collide with the objects. Alright, so next what we want to do is pick the coins. So now the thing we want to do is a gold property in the player. So we will add the gold property. It will be named gold and it will be an integer type of property. Okay, so now when we will make a collision with the coin, so collision with material coin. All right, so let me just real quick rename the material here. It will be coin. All right, it's coin. If we collide with the coin, we will add to gold, sorry. Let's say 1 coin, why not? Alright, so let us have an indicator that we have 2 coins, let's say. Alright, so if the property of gold is equal to 2, we will end the game. Okay, so game, we haven't gone through this logic brick as well, and this will quit the game. Alright, let's try this now. Alright, 1 coin, 2nd coin. Alright, okay, we touched it, but the next thing we want to do is to make the coin disappear. So again, collision, you know this already. Player and end object. Let's test again. One advice for everyone that has to do something with programming or whatever. The thing you want to do most often is save and test. Alright. Right, so we have picked the coins. Okay, I'm thinking of using the message logic bricks to the coins, because you noticed that we have the... Alright, I will have the logic, the message logic brick. It's because I collided with 2 coins and it didn't end the game, so it will be a message to the player, and it will be gold, and it will be, let's say, coin, and alright, so it will be here. And now going back to the player, it won't be the collision, it will be message. So message, and it will be gold. Let's try this. You can see that there are many ways of doing stuff, and actually that's my idea of indie game development, that you can experiment with many stuff, and there's always something you don't know. So yeah, that's why I like to say that if you have any ideas or advice, please comment down in the comment section. So let's try this again. So 1 coin, the 2nd coin in there in one place. Alright, it worked. I'm happy with this. Unfortunately, this tutorial happens to be a little bit longer than I thought it would be, so leaving you on a cliffhanger, I will show you the gold and health trackers in the next tutorial with a surprise in my mind, so stay tuned. As always, thank you guys for watching. Please like and share. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and get to know the little by little growing community. Also click that bell icon to get notified before the others, and if you want to support my channel, go to patreon.com/likecookies. Now this is the moment to mention my first patron. Thank you so much, I appreciate it, and I cannot be happier, unless of course we have a second one. I also thank you guys for the awesome suggestions you gave me for future tutorials. I can't wait to complete them and show them to you, so stay tuned and see you in the next tutorial.